The officiating, just what do you guys make of it so far? And I know that they've tried to kind of course correct.
Well,
So this first one is in regards to the referees.
I was just going to say I deserve my technical. I know that.
All right. They don't need any. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think, look, you know, the reality is a lot of us spend a lot of time in the off season.
They don't need any. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think, look, you know, the reality is a lot of us spend a lot of time in the off season on various committees trying to remedy this officiating thing. And you know what we said was that we wanted everything called. Freedom of movement needs to be a thing, and it was not tonight. And I think that there's going to be a calibration, of course, there is. But this felt a lot like last year.
For this team is play make. Like at the end of the day, I can score the ball, I can make threes, but what I can do best for this team is make plays for my teammates, and I know that. And you know, getting my feet in the paint, spraying it to my teammates. I think that's, you know, what I'm trying to focus on the most, and that, you know, takes my mind away from feeling like I need to make every shot. And, you know, when I get my feet in the paint, good things happen. I can get to the free throw line. I can finish well around the rim. I feel like obviously I've only made 1 3 tonight. But like I haven't let that affect me. I obviously haven't shot the ball as well as I would have liked the first 2 games, but my shot feels great and I feel like it's right there, but I haven't let that bother my mind through these first 2 games. And you know, the best thing I can do for this team is play make. Like at the end of the day, I can score the ball, I can make threes, but what I can do best for this team is make plays for my teammates, and I know that. And you know, getting my feet in the paint, spraying it to my teammates. I think that's, you know, what I'm trying to focus on the most. And
the mainstream sports media just completely missed the biggest story in women's basketball. While they're busy talking about box scores and manufacturing fake controversies, Caitlin Clark quietly dropped 5 bombshells that expose everything happening inside the Indiana Fever organization. And when you're the face of a league that just secured $3.1 billion in media rights, every single word matters. What she revealed over the past 72 hours isn't just honest, it's unprecedented. Professional athletes don't talk like this. They don't expose internal struggles. They don't admit psychological battles. But Clark just threw the entire public relations playbook out the window. Here's what nobody else is telling you. This isn't about missed shots or technical fouls or early season rust. This is about a complete organizational transformation happening in real time. And the clues are hidden in 5 specific statements that Clark made across multiple press conferences. Statements that reveal her mental state, her relationship with officials, her chemistry with the coaching staff, and a brand new offensive system that changes everything we thought we knew about this team. The media training experts teach athletes to speak in cliches, to give non-answers, to avoid bulletin board material. Clark just said, forget all that. I'm telling you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Let's start with the moment that exposes the entire leadership dynamic in Indiana. The Fever just survived an ugly grind against the Los Angeles Sparks. Final buzzer sounds. Clark is heated about a non-call and lets the officials know exactly how she feels. Technical foul, right at the buzzer. Now she's sitting at the post-game podium and the media vultures are circling, ready to pounce on the narrative of a frustrated, undisciplined superstar. Reporter asks about the technical. And watch what happens next, because this tells you everything about how this organization actually operates when the cameras are rolling. Head coach Stephanie White instantly leans forward to the microphone. She's trying to step in front of the bullet. She's trying to protect her franchise player. I'll take this one, she says before Clark can even respond. Classic coach move, right? Shield the star from controversy, but Clark immediately cuts her off. She looks directly into that microphone and says, I was just going to say I deserve my technical. White starts laughing. We don't need to be paying any unnecessary fines to the league office. But think about what just happened there. The coach actively tried to shield her young superstar from media scrutiny and financial penalty, and the player refused the shield. She refused to blame the officials. She refused to make excuses. She owned it instantly without hesitation. That's not media training. That's profound emotional growth happening in real time. That's the exact type of internal leadership and undeniable chemistry between a head coach and star player that turns talented individuals into championship dynasties. Despite all the chaotic, inconsistent messaging from the front office during the offseason, that single exchange proves White and Clark are communicating and trusting each other when it matters. But here's where it gets even more revealing. What Clark said about officiating just days before that technical foul shows you exactly how her mindset has evolved since her rookie season. Following the opening night loss to Dallas, Clark stood at that podium and said something we've never heard from her before. "I think I honestly could have probably got a couple more calls on a few of them, but that's okay." Don't let the polite delivery fool you. That's a massive shift in narrative. That's Caitlin Clark for the very first time in her professional career publicly, explicitly acknowledging that she's not getting the whistle she deserves when she attacks the rim. Think back to the 2024 rookie season. That version of Clark was physically battered. She absorbed every hard foul, every blind side screen, every uncalled hack in the paint, and said absolutely nothing to the press about it. The 2026 version has found her voice. She understands her leverage. She understands the percentage of economic activity she generates for this league, and she's no longer willing to quietly accept a different set of rules. She's attacking the basket, initiating heavy contact, and politely but firmly putting officiating crews on notice that she expects foul calls to be made. This isn't complaining. This is strategic communication. This is a superstar who's learned how to use media availability as a tool to influence how she's officiated going forward. And the fact that she's comfortable doing it publicly shows you just how much confidence she's gained in her own status within the league. But the most important revelation has absolutely nothing to do with referees. It's about a brand new, highly technical coaching directive from Stephanie White that nobody in mainstream media has bothered to translate for the audience. White publicly revealed that the Fever are implementing a completely new offensive philosophy for Clark. She said Clark is being challenged to play in-line to in-line across the floor, instead of top of the key to top of the key. Let me translate that coach speak into actual basketball terminology, because this changes everything about how Indiana is going to operate offensively. And White says in-line to in-line. She's officially confirming the implementation of the off-ball philosophy that hardcore fans have been debating since draft night. She's telling the world that the days of Clark bringing the basketball up court, stopping at the top of the three-point arc and dribbling stationary while waiting for a play to develop are officially over. The directive is crystal clear. Don't just operate at the top of the key holding the ball. Move through the lane. Cut violently through the painted area. Come off staggered screens. Get from one side of the floor to the other. This strategy isn't about taking the ball out of Clark's hands. It's about fundamentally changing where on the floor she receives the basketball. Instead of initiating offense from a dead stop 30 feet from the basket, she's being asked to move through complex offensive actions and receive the ball in rhythm, already moving downhill toward the rim. The entire tactical theory is that continuous movement creates significantly easier, higher percentage shots than stationary catches against a set defense. And this connects perfectly to the harsh but accurate critique delivered by Rachel Demita following opening night. Demita pointed out that the basketball was moving horribly in the first half against Dallas. She noted that the Wings had 10 more assists than Indiana in the first half alone. She declared that the Fever looked completely isolated and stagnant offensively. That critique is 100% legitimate. The Fever under Clark's command in the season opener reverted to heavily stationary offense. Clark standing at the top of the key. Kelsey Mitchell isolated on the wing. Aaliyah Boston planted in the low post. 0 backdoor cuts. 0 off-ball movement. No secondary actions to confuse the defense. That's not the Fever playing at maximum potential. The Fever at their absolute best are a flowing, beautiful motion offense where Clark's immense gravitational pull drags the defense out of position and creates massive driving lanes for everyone else on the floor. The in-line to in-line directive is the direct technical response to exactly what the fans identified. Now here's where Clark delivered the most brutally honest comment of her entire professional career. When discussing her physical condition and shooting struggles, she said, "There are definitely days where I still sometimes feel sore, but it's like the mental battle. Your body is fine, you put in the work, and it's just kind of getting over that mental hurdle." Stop and process the magnitude of that quote. She's telling the entire world that she's actively fighting a severe psychological battle on the basketball court right now. She knows medically that her body is capable. She knows mechanically that the shot is there. But after enduring 14 grueling months of continuous basketball, terrifying injury scares, constant back adjustments, flagrant fouls, and the relentless pressure of carrying the economic weight of a league on her shoulders, the mental trust in her own physical body is still rebuilding. The trauma of the physical punishment she took last year has created a psychological barrier. That's brutally, remarkably honest. That's significantly more honest than any carefully curated press conference quote you'll ever get from 95% of professional athletes. Most players actively hide the mental battle. They project false bravado, unbreakable confidence they may not actually feel internally. They give the safe, boring answer about getting back in the gym and working through it. Clark didn't do that. She told the unvarnished truth. She said the mental hurdle is real, she's actively working through it, and she delivered this information without seeking an ounce of sympathy from the media. So here's the bottom line that mainstream media is completely failing to comprehend. Over 72 hours of press conferences, we received 5 massive, actionable pieces of information. Her body is physically healthy, but the mental battle to trust it again is ongoing. She believes she should get more foul calls and isn't afraid to say it. She holds herself absolutely accountable when crossing professional lines with officials. The three-point shot is statistically off, but mechanics remain sound. And White has implemented a specific off-ball directive designed to create better rhythm and easier shots within offensive flow. None of this is catastrophic. All of this is highly workable. Even with shooting struggles and mental hurdles, Clark is averaging 22 points and 7 assists per game right now. The elite playmaking is intact, internal leadership is emerging, and the honesty she's providing fans is unprecedented. So drop it in the comments. Is Clark's shooting slump real concern or just early rust from a player getting over mental hurdles? Will White's new system fix the stagnant offense? Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit notifications, because this season is just getting started, and the storylines are only getting bigger.